Let's get started with SoundBranch, which is a social podcasting platform, and we'll go through various steps from site creation to using the platform. Now, SoundBranch can be used with the iOS and Android apps, but if you're using a desktop computer or laptop, we recommend that you use modern web browsers, including Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Safari. So make sure you've got the latest browsers installed. In order to create your SoundBranch site, you need to go to soundbrand.ch, and once you're on the website, you'll notice a blue button top left saying create a free podcast site. If you click on that to get started, you'll then be asked to add your company name and your company URL or subdomain. So if you add that for your organization, then you've actually got your own walled garden community where you can brand up the site and control a instance of SoundBranch for social podcasting and building out your community. Let's take a quick look at the navigation for SoundBranch, the primary navigation. On the top left, you've got the SoundBranch logo, and to the right of the logo, there's a small arrow, and that allows you to switch site. So you can go to the global SoundBranch site where individuals go, or you can create as many SoundBranch walled garden sites as you like. And the way to navigate between your SoundBranch sites is using that arrow. To the right of that, you've got the voice search. So you can type free text, or you can search with your voice by recording your voice to search the various voice notes within your site. You've got the home button, of course, network, where you can add contacts and see who you're following and who's following you. You've got analytics to see what's been played. And you've got podcasts. This is where you create your social podcasts and you can push them out to Spotify and to Apple Podcasts. You've, of course, got notifications. And on the far right, you've got your admin panel, your profile, and the ability to log out. In order to add new contacts to your site, all you need to do is navigate to the network button, click on invite a contact, and then you're presented with the ability to add an email address and the full name of the person. When you click send invitations, it then emails the people in question with a link back to your site to self-register. Let's talk now about the public timeline. This is where you can post voice notes, add images and links, and see who's played your clips. It's a little bit like Twitter's social feed and timeline, but the difference is it's all voice driven. So it's a series of voice notes, and users can play those voice notes, they can like, they can share, and they can reply with subsequent voice notes. All the voice notes are transcribed, so it's multimodal. People can see both the text and play the audio. And you can see depicted who's played the clip, which is also quite interesting. This is the SoundBranch inbox, and it's a collection of any new messages you get on the public timeline, in chat, which is one-to-one chat, or in groups. All the messages are laid out in chronological order with the latest messages at the top. You can play the audio. Audio icons in red are not played. Those that are black have been played. So a bit like read and unread messages in traditional email inboxes. You've got the ability to reply, you can like, you can delete, just like you would in any email client. And you've also got emojis. That's a sentiment analysis on the transcribed text, giving you the emotion, which can be a smiley face, indifferent, or an unhappy face. And you can filter on those. Again, you've got the search facility within the inbox and the ability to play all the clips. Now, whether you're composing a voice note from the inbox or you're replying, this is the sort of interface that you get. So you can record your message, and before you press send, you can play it back just to make sure that you're happy with it. You can then obviously type in the names of the people you want to send the voice message to, and you can also edit the transcript and text. So you can go with what's transcribed, or you can edit that transcript. You can also add photographs and links if you so wish. One cool feature about SoundBranch is the ability to have an audio profile, and this is where you can record your skills, experience, education, and hobbies. You've also got the ability for friends, family, colleagues, contacts to actually give you audio testimonials. So once you've got your audio profile set up, other users on the platform can do shout outs for you. They can give praise, they can give testimonials on your skills, education, and experience. This is a fantastic way in an organization or community to be introduced to people. So if you've not met somebody before and you want to learn about them, you can just go to their audio profile and play the audio to understand their background, their skills, their experience, and what other people are saying about the person in question. SoundBranch has powerful Elasticsearch, which means you can use the search box to search through all the content. All the voice notes are surfaced because the voice notes are transcribed. And you can filter on things such as just the public voice notes, just the groups, just the chats. But you can also surface podcasts and podcast episodes. You can search with free text, or you can use the microphone icon in the search bar to search with your voice. Now let's take a look at playlists. Playlists can be created using the plus icon next to the word playlist on the navigation bar on the left-hand side. And once you've got your playlist, you can start recording voice notes into the playlist. You do that by clicking the red record icon, and each time you press submit and send, the voice notes are displayed in the playlist. You can drag and drop those voice notes around. You can delete them if you're not happy and re-record, and you can invite other people to the playlist to record their voice notes. Playlists are where you start creating your podcasts. Once you're happy with a playlist, you can then add this to a podcast episode, which we'll look at later on. So to invite people to playlists, it's pretty straightforward. You just click on the invite to playlists option on the right-hand side, and then you just search the user's name. You can then invite them and give them admin, editing, or view-only credentials to see the content within your playlist. A little bit like playlists, you've got groups. Now, these aren't used for podcast creation. They're used primarily for collaboration and communication. Again, if you want to create a new group, you go to the nav bar on the left-hand side, and next to the groups label, there's a plus icon. You can then give your group a name, invite people, and start recording and listening to the voice notes. You've also got chat, and chat is primarily one-to-one. So here you can see I'm talking with Pavel. You can record a voice note using the red record to chat icon. And as you do that, your voice note is transcribed. And as soon as your message is sent, the person in question gets notifications alerting them. They can then play the audio and reply on their own time. SoundBranch has analytics, not only things like word usage graphs and things of that kind, but you can see basically how many plays your voice note has had. You can look at things like the sentiment, and you can look at the popularity of group chats and one-to-one chats over time. You'll notice on the top toolbar on the far right, you've got notifications, and any new messages, be it in groups or chat, any notifications, they come through this panel, and you can simply click on the notifications icon. When you get a new notification in, you get a counter next to the bell there as well. So to create a podcast on SoundBranch, you need to click on the podcast icon on the navigation bar on the top, and then click the button Create Podcast. You then got to upload a podcast thumbnail. So this is an image to display for your podcast, which will be seen on Spotify and Apple and on SoundBranch itself. Now that should be 1400 by 1400 pixels. You then got to add the podcast name, add a podcast description, and set the podcast to public or private. And that's how you start creating your podcast on SoundBranch. And here are some examples of podcasts created on SoundBranch. And the process is pretty much that once you've created your podcast, you can then associate playlists of pre-recorded voice notes that you've curated and associate that with a podcast episode. So when you create a podcast episode within a podcast, again, you just simply give a podcast episode title and description. And then from the drop down, you select the playlist that you want to include within that podcast episode. You can then syndicate your podcasts to Spotify and to Apple. And once you've set that up using RSS feeds and the export URL, that's an automatic process so that whenever you publish a new episode on SoundBranch, it automatically syndicates and gets pushed to Spotify and to Apple Podcasts. Let's take a look at the SoundBranch mobile apps, because if you're out and about, you might prefer recording audio on your mobile phone rather than your desktop computer or your laptop. Firstly, let's look at the Apple App Store. And if you type in the word SoundBranch, you'll find the app there to download. It's free. So go ahead and do that if you're an iPhone user. Alternatively, if you're on an Android handset, you'll need to go to Google Play and again type in SoundBranch and you can install the app. Once you're on the mobile app, all the functionality that you've got on the desktop web-based app is the same. So you've got the public timeline, you've got groups, chat, notifications, the ability to record voice notes, but also create playlists and create podcasts, etc. So here you can see on the right-hand side how you can record your audio profile on the mobile app. And usually on the mobile app, you've got a hamburger icon top left, and you can navigate through that to the About Us and profile page to record your audio profile. Just as you have chat and groups on the web-based app, you've got it on the mobile app as well. So you can access your groups and you can chat with individuals. And again, using the mobile app, you can invite contacts using their mobile phone numbers or their email addresses directly from the mobile app. Obviously, you can play any content on the timeline. And again, you've got the ability to search content using free text or using your voice using the microphone audio recorder next to the search bar. All the podcasts created by the community are available via the SoundBranch app, and you can also access your own podcasts and your playlists on the go. SoundBranch has been written 5 times for the web, for iOS, for Android, for Alexa and Google Assistant, and you can set up your Google Assistant and Alexa smart speakers to a particular default site on SoundBranch, so that when I speak to my smart speaker in my home or in my office, it defaults to a particular SoundBranch site. So in this instance, you can see that I've set the default company to Web Anywhere, which means any content on my Web Anywhere SoundBranch will then be accessible and playable via my smart speaker, be it Alexa or Google Assistant. So for example, with the Alexa app, I can say, Alexa, ask SoundBranch search New York, and it will play the audio. And with Google Assistant, slightly different, just OK Google, ask SoundBranch search GDPR, and it will play the audio again. And that brings us to the end of our Getting Started guide. We've started with how you create a SoundBranch account on soundbrand.ch and create your podcast site, your walled garden. We've gone through voice notes posted on the timeline, on chat, and in groups. We've talked about the playlist and how that is the building block for podcast episodes, and how you can create those podcast episodes and syndicate them to Spotify and to Apple Podcasts. We've explored powerful search, and then we've looked at mobile phone apps for SoundBranch and how you can record on the go. We finished off by looking at smart speaker devices and how you can access SoundBranch through your natural voice. I hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks for listening. In order to get started with SoundBranch, you need to head over to the soundbrand.ch site, create your podcast site, and you can get started with voice note recordings, be it for collaboration purposes by inviting your team, or for creating podcasts and the social podcasting angle. You can also download the SoundBranch apps on the Apple App Store and on Google Play.